Morning, everybody.
Mr. Mark Carney, Field Bay Cabinet. What are you hoping to get out of this first meeting?
I'm hoping to speak my voice and speak up for my beautiful province of New Brunswick and my region of southern New Brunswick. I'm here to be a part of a team and move our country forward. I'm really excited.
Do you think there's a shift in leadership style at all that you've noticed so far?
Oh my gosh, I think so, yeah. I mean, I think Mark Carney is exactly what the country is needed and needs. He's well-spoken, he's thoughtful, he's focused, and I think we're going to see our government run like a corporation, which I think is long overdue.
Do you think that criticizing Justin Trudeau brought you at this table at this moment?
Oh, not at all. I think the Prime Minister is well beyond doing favors for people. I think he picks people who are qualified and people that can contribute and move our country forward. I'm really excited to get going.
You were really outspoken under the previous administration with Justin Trudeau. Do you feel like you're going to be able to keep that up now that you're given this role?
I mean, I'm always going to represent my constituents and speak freely. I also recognize that Cabinet is a different level of confidence and confidentiality and teamwork. So looking forward to sitting down with my Cabinet colleagues and getting great work done on behalf of Canadians. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Long.
Of course.
Good morning. Can you tell us something about the Honda jobs? Are you scared that Honda, the decision to postpone the investment, that what kind of impact it could have on jobs?
Look, I think that's the mission that we have ahead of us as a cabinet, is to strengthen the Canadian economy and protect workers from the shock that's coming from a changing economic relationship with the United States. And that's a task that the Prime Minister has given me, along with many other ministers, to ensure that we support workers no matter what comes.
What can you do concretely?
So,
Are you going to look at that?
How do you address national unity? Premier Smith isn't happy with this cabinet.
Well, look, I think that there's an opportunity to work with all kinds of voices all across the country, and I think Mr. Carney has said that we will do that. We will serve all Canadians, and that's the way governments should think about the way that we operate, actually, is that regardless of who voted for us, regardless of your particular policy perspective, we're there to work for you. We might not always agree. It's a big country with lots of different agendas and priorities, but we can do this work together.
Somebody in charge of the Canada administrative attacks. What about the Labour Ministry?
Mr. Hodgson,
How are you feeling about
how do you feel about your new role?
You and your role, Mr. Hodgson.
Est-ce que vous parlez français?
How will you
Hi.
address national unity?
We look forward to building, and I look forward to digging in. We have a lot to do. I look forward to working with my provincial and territorial counterparts, our Indigenous partners, our industrial partners, and other stakeholders to build a more prosperous, secure, and safe Canada. And I will be going out west very soon.
How do you feel about your new role?
I'm excited, I'm delighted, and there's a lot of work to be done ahead, especially on the international trade file. As you know, Canadian businesses are expecting us to open new markets, new global markets for them, and that's what I'll be focused on.
What part of the world will be your priority?
Look, I'm getting briefed on my file right now, but it's what businesses want us to do, and I'm going to really reach out to businesses and stakeholders and get briefed on my file.
And is the U.S. part of your file, or is
Yes,
it?
I'll be working alongside colleagues, including Dominique LeBlanc, on that file as well. But I think it's important that right now we're over leveraged with the U.S. and we need to make sure that we continue to diversify our trade.
What about
Thanks
the
so much.
U.K.? What about the U.K.? It was on project
Now, when you've got a premier who's upset, Premier Smith's upset with the cabinet. Do you think this is too?
Look, if you look at the cabinet table, every region of the country is represented, and I'm looking forward to working with my colleagues across the country. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. What are your priorities?
I think, well, we're going to have a cabinet meeting and figure that out here probably in 25 minutes.
Can you give us some insight as to when you were asked and what the Prime Minister asked of you?
I found out, I got a call from the Prime Minister on Saturday, and he offered me the position, and I graciously accepted it.
What do you think about your skills that will allow you to do a good job in this?
I've got a pretty wide variety of skills. I was in the military for 20 years. I ran an aviation company for a number of years. I've been on the flight line. I've been an MP, and I chaired the National Defense Committee. So there's a whole bunch of different things I think come together to give me a bit of an edge on.
Is there the renegotiation of the F-35 part of your portfolio, or?
Well, that task was given to Bill Blair probably a month ago. So I'm not sure where that stands right now. I'm going to get briefed up on all these things, and if the Prime Minister, I don't think that's been resolved, so I probably will end up having to look at that, I would imagine.
Thank you for
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Labour Ministry.
Bon matin, chers amis. C'est une belle journée pour le Canada. et je suis tellement fière d'être ici, tellement heureuse. So, hi everyone, good morning. What a great day for Canada. The Prime Minister said yesterday how humbled he was to be taking on his job, and that's exactly my feeling. I think that this is a critical moment for Canada, a consequential moment. I'm absolutely confident that Mark Carney has already begun to be a consequential Prime Minister for Canada, someone who is committed to building Canada, and I'm really grateful and humbled to be part of his team. I'm especially excited about internal trade. This is something that Canadian economists, Canadian geeks have been talking about for decades. Entire books have been written about it. The IMF has estimated that lifting all barriers to internal trade will add as much as 4% to our GDP. That is a lot, and we need it right now. And I really believe this is a moment we can get it done. Internal trade has become sexy. It has, I know, it's funny, but yet true. You see premiers across the country really putting their shoulder to the wheel. Yesterday, after the cabinet announcement, I heard from a number of premiers who got in touch with me directly and said, let's go, let's do this. And transport, obviously, is a critical part of building Canada. So I'm humbled and grateful to be part of this. Je suis heureuse et fière d'avoir l'opportunité de travailler dans ce gouvernement critique. Oui, est-ce qu'il faut déposer un projet de loi aux communes pour faire avancer le projet de commerce intérieur, pour faire tomber les barrières tarifaires, ou ça passe avec les premiers ministres? Oui, nous avons l'intention, le Premier ministre va parler de ça, mais on a l'intention d'ici le 1er juillet, du côté du fédéral, de faire tout ce qui est sous notre contrôle pour avoir une économie canadienne et pas 13. Il y a des éléments qui sont directement sous le contrôle du fédéral et on est prêt à lever toutes ces mesures et en même temps, on va travailler avec les provinces pour encourager les provinces et les territoires de faire la même chose. Et la chose que je veux souligner, c'est que les provinces aujourd'hui veulent le faire. Pour des décennies et décennies, tous les économistes ont dit que c'est une bonne chose pour le Canada. Nous devons le faire, mais les obstacles étaient trop grands. Aujourd'hui, je pense que tous les Canadiens et Canadiennes partout au pays comprennent que c'est un moment critique, que nous faisons face à une menace grave du côté des États-Unis et qu'en tant que pays, c'est le moment que nous devons faire tout sur notre contrôle pour bâtir le Canada, pour créer une économie canadienne le plus forte dans le G7, comme le Premier ministre a dit hier. And I really think this is the moment. We have to seize this moment to get free trade in Canada done by Canada Day. You know, it reminds me a little bit of early learning and childcare. It was something that Canadian feminists had fought for 50 years. Everyone said it couldn't be done. They said there was no political support to do it. But then there was this moment, and we seized it, and we got it done. I believe that Mark Carney's government is going to do the same thing on internal trade.
You and Dominic LeBlanc seem to have the same job. Who's in charge, Dominic LeBlanc or you?
Pour moi, c'est un privilège et un plaisir de travailler avec le ministre Leblanc. On est des amis commençant en 2013 et je sais qu'on va travailler en étroite collaboration. La collaboration sera efficace. Merci.
Est-ce que c'est vrai, Mme Freeland, l'histoire d'ambassadrice?
How do you address national unity? Premier Smith said she's concerned about the environment minister that's just been selected. How are you going to address that and bring the country together right now?
Well, our focus is indeed to build a strong domestic economy, and that is going to necessitate increased cooperation nationally. And as you know, that also means eradicating barriers to trade, which Alberta itself has done very good work on over the past number of years. So I do hope that as a country, all provinces and territories will be able to come together to strengthen the domestic economy.
Quels sont les premiers gestes que vous comptez poser comme ministre des Affaires étrangères?
C'est une bonne question. C'est la première journée maintenant, mais peut-être je pourrais commencer avec ça. Que notre focus comme gouvernement est d'augmenter notre économie domestique. Et ça veut dire que nous devons avoir les relations fortes avec nos alliés et de trouver aussi les nouveaux alliés. Donc, je vais travailler très fort avec l'objectif de fortifier nos relations pour notre économie domestique.
Sur la Syrie, Israel's blocking
One at a time, please. One at a time.
Est-ce que le Canada est prêt de signer une entente avec les États-Unis?
Le Canada va continuer de travailler avec les États-Unis et avec nos autres alliés, surtout les pays dans l'Union européenne. Donc, on va continuer de travailler là-dessus et je vais continuer de parler avec vous quand j'ai quelque chose à partager. One at a time. I can't hear you.
Israel's blocking food and aid to Gaza. What do you think of that decision? And is the Canadian government doing anything to stop that?
We cannot allow the continued use of food as a political tool. The Prime Minister has been very clear about that. Over 50,000 people have died as a result of the aggression caused against the Palestinian and the Gazan people in Palestine. And using food as a political tool is simply unacceptable, and we need to continue to work towards a ceasefire. We need to ensure that we have a two-state solution, and Canada will continue to maintain that position.
Cabinet colleagues. Première priorité, Mme Joly, dans les dossiers.
Ça me fait plaisir de vous voir. It's a pleasure to be here. First and foremost, I'm happy to be the new industry minister. I had the chance this morning to talk with Vic Fideli from Ontario already and to talk about the Honda issue. Our goal is definitely to make sure that we're in solution mode. My goal is before the end of the day to be able to talk to the head of Honda. To all people that are in the auto sector, my goal is to make sure that I'll be there for you, fighting for you, and we'll make sure that we'll be in solution mode. Donc, en français, ça me fait plaisir d'être la nouvelle ministre de l'Industrie du Canada. J'ai déjà eu l'occasion de parler au ministre de l'Économie de l'Ontario sur la question de Honda. Nous avons une conversation constructive. On est en mode solution et mon objectif d'ici la fin de la journée est d'être en mesure de parler avec la direction de Honda.
Mais qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire concrètement, Mme Joly, pour essayer de sauver les emplois là-bas?
Premièrement, il n'y a pas eu d'emplois qui ont été perdus. C'est une pause sur les investissements. Ça, c'est un phénomène qu'on voit beaucoup. Pourquoi? Parce qu'il y a une guerre tarifaire qui a été lancée par le président Trump. Elle a des impacts concrets sur le terrain. C'est une des raisons pourquoi je voulais être en charge de l'économie, parce que on sait que cette guerre tarifaire-là, c'est essentiellement une menace économique contre notre pays et elle a des conséquences. Et les conséquences, c'est justement le secteur de l'automobile ou au Québec, le secteur de l'aluminium. Donc, notre objectif est de renverser la vapeur. Malgré le fait qu'il y a beaucoup d'imprévisibilité qui provient de la Maison-Blanche, notre objectif, c'est d'être capable de créer de la certitude économique, attirer des investissements, créer des emplois. Yes, okay, just. So, we know that we're in a trade war with the U.S. We know there's a lot of uncertainty coming out and unpredictability coming out from the White House. My goal, and that's why I wanted to become the new Minister of the Industry, it is to make sure that notwithstanding all the shenanigans coming out of the White House, we can create economic certainty here in the country, that we can attract investments, that we can create jobs. It's a huge undertaking. And we know right now that this trade war is what? It's an economic threat against our country. Now, what are the consequences of this trade war is definitely jobs in Canada. So that's why I wanted to be going from the diplomatic front to the economic front of this war. I'm sorry, I'm not over. And at the same time, being able to be in solution mode. I've already been in contact with the Ontario economy.
Y a-t-il des subventions ou des engagements fédéraux en argent qui ont été promis à Honda que vous pourriez retenir pour peut-être les forcer à honorer leurs investissements?
Deux choses. Je dois continuer d'avoir les briefings. Ma compréhension pour l'instant, c'est que l'objectif de l'entente avec Honda, comme toutes les ententes dans la filière batterie pour le fédéral, ça a été qu'il n'y aurait pas de financement tant aussi longtemps que les usines se construisent et que les employés reçoivent leur premier chèque de paie.
When you talk to Minister Fedeli, do you have concerns about the other battery plant in Windsor right now, and the VW plant as well? Did you talk to him about those projects too?
My goal is to make sure that we're able to get to good deals, to finalize deals, and at the same time to attract ones. What I did also this morning was to be in contact with the Minister of the Economy of Europe, who's a dear friend, former Foreign Minister of France. So we're already in conversation to make sure that we can create that partnership, that economic partnership between Europe and Canada.
Parlant de ça, justement, on parle d'attirer des investissements. Est-ce que vous allez favoriser vos contacts européens ou est-ce que vous allez favoriser les entreprises européennes à s'installer ici plutôt que les entreprises américaines?
Ce matin, j'ai fait deux choses, en fait. J'ai parlé avec Fideli, j'ai été en contact avec Chrystia Freeland, j'aurai l'occasion de lui parler un petit peu plus tard, donc la ministre de l'Économie du Québec. En même temps, ce que j'ai fait, c'est que j'ai été en contact avec le ministre de l'Économie de l'Europe, qui est Stephen Fuhr, l'ancien ministre des Affaires étrangères de la France, pour justement créer ce partenariat économique entre le Canada et l'Europe. Et j'ai été en contact avec aussi des bonnes relations que j'ai en Corée pour justement être capable de créer ces investissements-là qui viennent de la Corée et éventuellement du Japon. Donc, vous voyez que moi, je passe, je l'ai dit plusieurs reprises, du front diplomatique au front économique, mais en même temps, mon objectif, c'est de développer une diplomatie qui est une diplomatie avec les différents ministres de l'industrie du monde, mais aussi avec les PDG.
Le but,
et je vais travailler là-dessus.
Détourner des États-Unis.
Absolument. Pourquoi? Parce que, on le sait, on a une trop grande dépendance par rapport aux États-Unis. Donc, concrètement parlant, il faut que ça se fasse sur le terrain avec les relations que j'ai pu développer à l'international, que le premier ministre Carney a de façon évidente. Alors, on va travailler main dans la main pour créer ces opportunités-là pour nos entrepreneurs d'ici.
What are their contingency plans? The Prime Minister says they always have to plan for the worst. If the auto plants move south, can they be retooled? Can you redevelop the auto plants?
So I've already been in contact with the CEOs of GM, Ford, and also Stellantis. My goal is to be able to have good conversations with them before the end of the week. My message to the workers in the auto sector is we're there for you. We know that there's anxiety. We know you're concerned about losing shifts. We know we were concerned about losing your jobs, and we will always fight for your jobs. Notwithstanding that, we also have a $2 billion worth of support for the industry, the auto industry, the steel and aluminum industries that are affected by the trade war. One of my first decisions will be also to make sure that the workers can benefit from these investments. Merci. Merci beaucoup.
Wow. Bonjour tout le monde.
Bonjour, le statut de parti officiel pour la LPD. On en est où sur cette discussion-là? Est-ce que c'est votre décision? Comment ça fonctionne?
Ce n'est pas ma décision, c'est une décision pour le Parlement.
Comment vous allez faire fonctionner le Parlement maintenant, le gouvernement minoritaire, encore une fois?
Bien, les Canadiens ont voté, viennent d'accorder un mandat assez clair. Je pense qu'il y a 343 députés qui vont entrer en chambre avec une grande clarté sur les priorités des Canadiens. Et nous croyons que le discours du trône va être le reflet de ce que les Canadiens ont évoqué comme priorité. Nous allons le proposer et je suis sûr que avec un bel esprit de collaboration de notre part, que j'offre évidemment, la main tendue, c'est sûr, à l'ensemble des parlementaires, à l'ensemble des partis de l'opposition. Je pense qu'on va trouver une belle zone de collaboration.
How do you plan on working with the opposition parties in, a strong but still a minority government?
Well, I do want to say, look, first, how exciting it is to be back. This is a very short interval between an election and the return of Parliament. I know all parliamentarians will be very excited for the throne speech, a visit from King Charles, and I know that the government will be very clear about its priorities and its agenda. And I will be reaching out to my counterparts as soon as they're named. As far as I'm aware, I don't have a counterpart as yet, but as soon as I know who they are, I'll be talking to them. They have, okay, I'm sorry. Who is it?
I don't think they're going to be very happy about the King's visit.
Normandais, Christine Normandais.
C'est Madame Normandais, donc bravo et félicitations à Madame Normandais.
Monsieur MacKinnon, quel genre de collaboration justement vous voyez avec le Bloc en comité, par exemple, si le NPD n'a pas le statut de parti reconnu, ce serait avec eux que vous devriez possiblement négocier. Vous êtes prêt à ça?
Donc ce sera du cas par cas. La collaboration est possible, la collaboration est souhaitée de notre part. Il y aura une politique de ma part de porte ouverte, de main tendue envers l'ensemble des parlementaires, dont le
Certainly scaled up since my time as mayor. It's been a horrendous tragedy for Canada, and you know, my guidance has always been listen to the doctors and the health experts, and not the politicians who've never worked outside of Ottawa. So his criticism was loaded with misinformation, confusing crime, and opioid deaths, which is dangerous for a politician to be putting out there. Very irresponsible. And we have a housing crisis and a health crisis with overdoses. We need constructive solutions to those. We need to listen to doctors and health experts on overdoses, and we need to build a lot more across Canada and be working with cities, which is my background.
Mr. Robertson, housing prices in Vancouver went up while you were mayor. I want to ask you, why do you feel like you have the skills necessary to do this when you saw a 179% increase in Vancouver housing prices?
Yeah, we've seen increases like that across Canada over the past decade. Certainly since my time as mayor, we've seen a lot more movement here in Ottawa, and we've got great programs starting to work now. A housing accelerator program is partnering with cities to deliver. I'm here to leverage my history as a mayor. I know what works on the ground. I wasn't getting the help I needed from the federal government when I was mayor, or the provincial government of all stripes. We need, as a government in Ottawa, to be delivering and partnering with cities and provinces all together, and making sure we're building enough supply, and that the federal government is focused on affordable housing and delivering that. No, I think that we need to deliver more supply, make sure the market is stable. It's a huge part of our economy. We need to be delivering more affordable housing. And the government of Canada has not been building affordable housing since the 90s, and we've created a huge shortage across Canada. That's where the big need is right now, and I'm very encouraged that the Prime Minister and our commitment right now in government is to double construction and focus on the affordable side.
How realistic do you think those pledges are to double construction?
It's very ambitious. It's going to take us years to really scale up. We're going to have to leverage Canadian technology with off-site manufacturing. We got a lot of work to do on this, and it doesn't happen overnight. Housing is a slow-moving creature, and we got to do everything we can to speed it up. Okay? Thanks very much.
Je pense qu'il y aura un ensemble de candidats et les députés vont évaluer l'ensemble
Mais
de
vous,
ces
que
candidats.
préféreriez-vous, avoir un président libéral ou un
Moi, ma
président
préférence ne
d'opposition?
compte pas, il y a un vote secret.
Monsieur Fergus, voulez-vous le revoir là?
Je ne suis pas ici pour me prononcer sur une candidature ou une autre. Il y a un vote secret et c'est le droit le plus strict de tous les députés de choisir leur président.
C'est quand même un ami à vous, là.
Mon vote est secret comme le vote de l'ensemble des parlementaires.
Est-ce que vous étiez triste de perdre votre ministère? Parce que là, je sais qu'il y a des gens qui ont dit que c'est un peu une démotion ce que vous avez eu hier. Comment vous avez réagi à ça?
Je suis très excité et énergisé par la perspective et la possibilité de servir ce gouvernement-là, d'être au cœur de l'action. Je pense que vous me connaissez comme quelqu'un qui aime la joute et qui aime surtout avoir des résultats pour nos commettants.
Conservative tone yesterday. Listening to Mr. Poilievre saying basically it's the same old cabinet.
Look, Mr. Poilievre has a job to do. I respect that. But I think we both know that we're here to get results for Canadians, and that's what certainly I'm going to be doing.
Don Davis says that your government is reaching out to NDP MPs to try to poach them to the Liberals. Is your government doing that?
I'm not aware of any of that.
Monsieur
You're
MacKinnon,
not reaching out to opposition parties about getting them to join the Liberals to get a majority?
I'm not aware of any of that.
Monsieur MacKinnon, sur le NPD, je comprends que vous dites que c'est pas ma décision, mais vous avez certainement une opinion. Vous dites que vous dites, je reprends vos mots, ma décision.
Oui, ce n'est pas ma décision.
Mais quelle est votre opinion à vous personnelle? Est-ce qu'il devrait avoir...
Mon opinion ne compte
Est-ce
guère.
que partie de cette députée doit être reconnue d'avoir le statut de parti commun?
Il y a des règles, c'est au Parlement de décider. C'est le Parlement qui s'est donné ces règles-là et c'est au Parlement de les évaluer, les règles. Oui. Well, it's obviously very exciting. It's not a project that's being studied. It's a project that's in action, and I think everyone in the National Capital Region is very happy with it.
Thank you.
Mr. Solomon, what do you plan to do with your new portfolio of AI and development?
Well, we're outlining it. We're really excited to work on the digital economy, and we'll give you details later. Thanks for calling.
Mr. Fraser, first off, welcome back. And, what do you think of Mr. Poilievre saying that you epitomize failing upwards with your new portfolio as Justice Minister?
You know, it's fascinating. He spends an awful lot of time on me, and one of the things that I heard loud and clear in my constituency over the course of the election campaign that we've just come through is one of the reasons that people were just not comfortable with Mr. Poilievre as a potential Prime Minister is he spends so much of his energy slinging mud against his opponents rather than proposing ideas that are actually going to help families who live in communities like mine. I'm going to focus on the work that we get to do, not what my opponents may have to say to pursue their own political
But does he
advantage.
does he not have a point, though, with immigration getting out of control under your watch, and with housing prices still going up under your watch? Does he not have a point?
Let's look at what actually took place on the housing portfolio. On the very first committee appearance I made, I openly acknowledged that we had been living through a housing crisis, and we got to work to launch the largest suite of housing reforms that we've seen in over half a century. My colleagues from all parties, including the Conservative parties, actually voted me to be the most effective minister and best parliamentarian in the House. So from my perspective, it's clearly motivated by some axe he has to grind against me personally, but it really doesn't bother me too much. He's made his entire career out of a habit of slinging mud against his opponents. I hope to build my career on doing work that's going to help my community.
When you start leadership style different from Mr. Trudeau's, how do you feel the leadership is already different?
Well, look, I'm about to go sit in my first cabinet meeting with the new Prime Minister, and I'll have a clearer line of sight, I suppose, after that. But my experience in the first few weeks and over the course of the election campaign is there is a relentless focus on the economy, strengthening Canada's ability to compete on the international stage and making sure that we actually stand up to the United States government in a way that's going to defend Canada's interests. It's this singular focus on the issues that are clearly top of mind for people who live in communities like mine that shows a different corporate culture, so to speak.
When you decided not to run again, you said it was because you wanted to spend more time with your family, and you said when you were coming back again that you worked out a deal with Mr. Carney that you'd be able to, have a little bit more work-life balance. How does that jive with your new role?
Well, I expect what you're going to see is when the House of Commons is not sitting, given the nature of the portfolio, a lot of the stakeholders we have are less interested in having you attend groundbreakings, the openings of new buildings that you may have funded, and are quite accustomed to having meetings virtually. So I anticipate during constituency weeks I'm going to be based in my hometown a little more than I was before. There may be an opportunity, depending on what's going on in the House, to avail myself, not all the time of course, but once in a while, of the virtual abilities to participate in the House of Commons proceedings. So we're going to figure some of this out as we go. I'm very proud to have the support of my family to come back. My kids in particular are very excited, even though the little guy's only 3 years old. My daughter at 9 has a better understanding. And it's going to take work on my part, and I'm going to have to ensure that I can be both a good dad and a good MP at the same time.
Monsieur le Président, en français, est-ce qu'il y a vraiment une rupture avec le gouvernement Trudeau? Parce que quand on regarde les postes de seniors... Okay, yeah. Est-ce qu'il y a vraiment une rupture? Like, is there really like a separation from the Trudeau government? Because when you look at the top jobs, it's all ministers who were in the Trudeau government, and that was Poilievre's criticism yesterday. He was like, it's all the same people. Qu'est-ce que vous répondez? Like, what do you answer to that?
C'est obvieux. Il y a des personnes qui, dans la Chambre de commune avant l'élection et après l'élection. Mais en même temps, c'est 50% des ministres et nouveaux de le cabinet. C'est obvieux de le cabinet inclut des des personnes qui est dans le cabinet ancien, mais avec les combinaisons de l'expérience et les nouvelles perspectives, je pense que nous avons une opportunité pour créer une nouvelle culture et une nouvelle expérience. Selon moi, c'est une expérience nouvelle, c'est une expérience différente, mais j'ai plus d'informations après la première réunion.
Soit dans mon titre. Alors, on a simplement écouté nos intervenants.
Mark Carney last night.
Non, je garde toutes les fonctions de nature. Tout ce qui a changé hier, c'est mon titre. Mais nature, biodiversité, Parc Canada, je suis toujours ministre responsable. C'est d'ailleurs pourquoi je travaille avec Nathalie Provost sur ces questions-là.
Mark Carney last night. Smith says that she's still concerned that you're part of cabinet and also the new selection of Mr. Buzyn for the environment minister. She says it's too close of a tie to you. What do you say in response to that?
I think we will have to agree to disagree with Premier Smith. We think that protecting the environment, fighting climate change is important. Lots of Canadians believe that as well. It was a central element of our platform, and we will make good on our commitments.
The Prime Minister last night on TV seemed to open the door to potentially changing the emissions cap or the IAA to get projects built. What do you think of what he said?
Well, these are important conversations that we will need to have in the coming weeks.
Are you sur le placement de produits à Radio-Canada? Premier Smith is saying that you're anti-pipeline still. What do you say in response to her concerns just broadly about the cabinet? And how do you deal with national unity? How do you address that right now?
So on pipelines, people should remember that we bought a pipeline, Trans Mountain, and that is only used right now about 40% capacity. So I think before we start talking about building an entire new pipeline, maybe we should maximize the use of existing infrastructure. And the Canadian Energy Regulator, as well as the International Energy Agency, are telling us that probably by 2028, 2029, demand for oil will peak globally, and it will also peak in Canada. So as far as I know, there are no investors right now, there are no companies that are saying that they want to build an east-west pipeline. And as you know, these things are built by companies, not governments.
La question sur le placement publicitaire à Radio-Canada, le placement publicitaire, qu'est-ce que vous en pensez? Est-ce que ça fait partie du mandat de Radio-Canada? Est-ce que ça devrait continuer?
C'était dans le livre vert de ma collègue, la ministre Pascale Saint-Onge. On a pris plusieurs engagements sur le diffuseur public pendant l'élection. Pas tous les éléments que nous nous sommes engagés à mettre en œuvre durant la campagne électorale font partie, en fait, pas tous les éléments qui sont dans le livre vert font partie de nos engagements, mais c'est certainement un élément dont j'ai discuté avec le premier ministre.
Mais vous êtes d'accord avec ça?
C'est une question que je veux continuer d'aborder avec le premier ministre, mais également avec la direction.
Mais vous en pensez
Est-ce que vous êtes contre la construction de nouveaux pipelines au Canada?
Moi, ce que je dis, c'est qu'on a déjà une infrastructure qui est existante, qui n'est même pas utilisée à 50% de sa capacité. Donc, avant de penser à construire une nouvelle infrastructure, maximisons l'utilisation de celle que nous avons déjà. Et comme je le rappelais à vos collègues, l'Agence internationale de l'énergie et le régulateur.
Mais ce n'est pas le message de votre premier ministre. Là. Le premier ministre est en train de dire construisons des nouveaux pipelines, on est ouvert. Là. Vous semblez être beaucoup plus sur les freins. Là.
La Régie de l'énergie du Canada et l'Agence internationale de l'énergie nous disent que la demande en pétrole mondiale, et même ici au Canada, va plafonner autour de 2028-2029. Et présentement, il n'y a aucun promoteur qui veut construire un projet Est-Ouest. Merci. Oui.
Was a mistake in the first place not to include the Minister of Women in the first Carney cabinet?
I think what Prime Minister Mark Carney was really trying to do is focus on, of course, the challenges with the U.S. President Trump, and of course facing the election. What's more important is that it is reinstated now, and I'm really looking forward to continue to advocate for women, gender equality, and of course youth.
What are your priorities?
Well, first, getting to work. As you see, we've had many new exciting members who are here, hearing from them and hearing what's important in their constituencies. So it's really about getting back to work and focusing on continuing to move this file forward.
The Liberals lost a lot of ridings in 1905, and some were very close. And some of the analysis is that the Liberals didn't take crime seriously enough. We see a lot of focus on that in terms of the Secretaries of State and some of the cabinet titles. Do you think that the Liberals are going to be more focused on that this time around?
Absolutely. I mean, we remain and continue to be focused on addressing crime, and of course, with our platform, as you see, Prime Minister Mark Carney is going to. We, as a cabinet, will continue to focus on
making sure we're focusing on addressing public safety concerns and issues with crime as well. Thank you so much.
Minister, have you been in touch with the Vancouver community after the Lapu tragedy?
Yes, absolutely. I actually, as soon as the campaign was over, I visited Vancouver and spent some time with the community there. My heart goes out to, of course, the victims and the survivors of the Lapu incident in the festival. And my heart continues to go out with them. And right now, I think what's important for the community is that they continue to unite and work together to help the community at large get through this. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.